I just told you that I answered that question.
What was the purpose of getting Remix's background?
I answered that question. I answered that question the other night.
Can you refresh my memory?
You asked me the question, what was the purpose of that? And I told you that. The purpose of getting this information because the shit that he was talking about my son. I told you that. I addressed that. I've addressed that 1,000 times. And far as you saying like I'm going out of my way to Chattanooga, nigga, I keep telling you, I goes to Chattanooga frequently. And when I go there, that's when I do my thing on him. I don't go out my way to drive way up to Chattanooga. You love trying to flip a story.
And say
don't bring a handwritten note out. We don't do that. We don't do that no more. We don't do that. We don't bring a hand.
You said that though. You shouldn't have said that. You went there to do that for malicious reasons though.
No. And what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you.
What's gonna happen?
If Remix decide not to do or say nothing about it, absolutely nothing.
Well, I tell you what. You as attorney.
I'm not his attorney. I'm not.
You're the attorney. Well, you advised him.
Anti-Afro Svengali. I wanted to talk about the term that's been thrown around over the last couple of years when you hear subjects talking about what they claim is doxing, which 99% of the time is not doxing. But at any rate, when they're articulating this point, this flawed point, you hear the term malicious intent. And it's very clear that the subjects who are riding high on this term malicious intent have no idea of the concept of its positives and its negative impact. Still yet, these same subjects will declare, they will shout up from the mountaintops, they will articulate automatically, autopilot, no hesitation, unbridled, unfeathered, their views, their position, their opinion, their insistence when it comes to speaking on what they want to speak on, from getting a view out that they want others to listen to and embrace. And they're just as determined to silence everyone else or anyone else who doesn't agree with what they say. They take active steps to silence others while they insist on being heard and their points taken without question, without hesitation. And whoever did a number on these fools, they did a humdinger because these fools ride heavy onto the hilt with the guilt tripping, or shall I say the attempted guilt tripping. You can't be riding so heavy duty on a concept of guilt tripping unless it's been highly successful on yourselves. Somebody did a number on y'all. Somebody made you feel guilty as sin. Because this is a tactic they use in order to try to shut people up who are simply giving their opinion. How could you do this? What are you doing this for? Hey, I like you. I can't believe I'm hearing this. What the hell does it matter whether or not you say you like somebody? That's just a way to try to harass people off of their stoop and have them come down onto the sidewalk so you can have an advantage to do what to them? Now they come off their property, where they're just sitting, chilling on the bench. Now you want them to come down onto the street curb so you can take a swing at them. No, whoever's sitting very sturdy, strong, and confident in their position, hold your position. We don't have to modify an opinion or view or agree to something because someone else is uncomfortable with our position. This relates to this term, malicious intent. They're clueless to the fact that malicious intent has both a lawful and unlawful side to it. So what I'm going to go over with you now and let you know up front that Remix owes Hamilton County $9,000 and some change over his multitude of arrest encounters and disposition with the court, convictions, probation. Going to go over a couple of these episodes of these convictions. There are 19 arrest encounters, and I guess I could say, technically speaking, there are 12 convictions. A few don't have fines associated, so I'm not going to cover those. I'm covering what he owes for the purpose of this commentary and the points I'm going to highlight. Here we have Remix Tree Mix owing $240.85. And what happened with this situation? Resisting stop, frisk, halt, arrest, or search. In 2005, he was in a hoopty with 3 other dudes. It gets pulled over for tags that are expired. As they start to gather everyone's identification, Remix Tree Mix says his last name is Appleberry. During the course of these transactions with the 4 occupants and the police, he takes off running. They went around to see if they can find him. They ended up at, I don't know if this is dad or stepdad. And the stepdad/dad said he was here and he was bragging about he ran from you. And yes, he gave you a fake name. His last name is not Appleberry. His last name is Dixie. So old dad/stepdad is telling. So he never paid the fine on this charge. And he got 29 days in the county workhouse, suspended on good behavior, defendant placed on probation. So he got probation for this. So the next one, here, Tree Mix Remix owes $2,149.75. This is when he beat an ex-girlfriend with a tree trunk or tree branch, drew blood. 29 days in the county workhouse. Serving 120 days, defendant placed on probation. Let me clarify. When it says suspended on good behavior, that means it can be suspended on good behavior. He obviously was not on good behavior because he had 120 days. Reiterating, he was placed on probation for this offense. This is a domestic violence conviction. Hold on to that thought. So next we have drinking underage, 18 to 20 years old. The balance on this case is $505.01. Put in the county workhouse for 29 days and probation term was imposed. Another resisting arrest or obstruction of legal process. This was actually attached to another case where Tree Mix Remix showed up at an ex-girlfriend's house and was trying hard to make sure she doesn't go to work. So he hijacked her cell phone, texted her boss, pretended to be her, saying she wasn't coming to work. He assaulted her and she calls the police. Her father shows up and he attacks the father with the police there. They try to separate them and then Tree Mix Remix takes off and locks himself into the apartment or house. He wouldn't come out. It took a while to extract him and he resisted. So the balance on this case is $7,153.57. As an FYI, they dropped the DV element on this case and kept the resisting arrest or obstruction of legal process. 6 months in the county workhouse and defendant placed again on probation. Okay, so here we have $229.65 outstanding. This is a case where Remix cold cock baby bro in the eye with a closed fist and took off running. Here you have another restraining order or criminal protective order put in place. 6 months in the county workhouse, defendant placed on probation. So you have yet another probation term imposed. So this isn't all of the charges where he has fines, but the fines total outstanding $9,000 and some change. What I wanted to make sure was clear when we talk about the term malicious intent, there's a lawful side and an unlawful side to malicious intent. Okay, so let's say the intent is formed. What is the act following that? That has to be illegal. There is nothing illegal about me coming up here and reporting on Tree Mix Remix's details of his criminal background. And let me tell you, I'll give you the reason why I'm doing it. because Tree Mix Remix for how long has ran up and down these YouTube streets claiming he's never been on probation, claiming he doesn't have any domestic violence convictions. So when the information was put out before, it was quite different. Fold Up Body was claiming certain things about the criminal record, such as Tree Mix Remix beat his mother. Well, according to Hamilton County court records, that's not indicated. Did it happen in another county? If it did happen, I can't tell you that. I'm only focusing on Hamilton County. The other lie that was told by Fub was he gave alcohol to a minor. It says here, drinking under age 18 to 20 years old. So, Tree Mix Remix explained the situation, gave a version that seemed credible up against Fold Up Body. However, now that we learn the truth, and the truth was arrived at in a very interesting manner. You can look at this in one of three ways. You can look at it in logical mode. You can look at it in exclusive me mode. You can look at it in terms of slave mode. Okay, I did the logical reciprocation mode. If Remix Tree Mix comes on these YouTube streets and he has no hesitation to give his feedback, his opinion, his judgment, his declarations, his criticisms about any and everything that goes down, including commenting on people's criminal history. Hard and fast judgment. He isn't quiet. He isn't silent about anything. So it's in logical mode that he should be able to tolerate someone speaking about his criminal background, in particular, if he's found to have lied about it. Also, Remix Tree Mix can just conjure up a bogus Bunco beef and try to pull me, my friends and supporters into shit that has nothing to do with us. Lie? Isn't it logical that the truth should not be offensive? It wouldn't be offensive to me because I'm going to tell the truth. Yes, it's offensive to him because he lies. But I'm in logical mode. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. But that does not work with the exclusive me mode. Well, that is not my problem. I stay in the logical mode. If he's going to jump up here and talk shit, give opinions about any and everybody, whichever sector it is, he should understand he has the same coming to him. It's only logical and reciprocal that I tell the truth about him. How does it make any sense that you remain quiet when someone lies about you? You're barred, you're prohibited from speaking the truth. Since he came out and was spreading all these lies, saying he has all this information and all these receipts and obtained money from fools for receipts that don't exist, I think it's only logical. I think it's reciprocation mode that I come up here and let everybody know that I think it's worth speaking on. Of course I think it's worth speaking on. I wouldn't have cared otherwise had Kip not brought it to my attention. I didn't even think about it. But when the information was brought to me and I identified the lies, yes, it was relevant. Yes, it was necessary. Yes, it was logical. Yes, it's appropriate. If a situation presents itself when someone has told blatant lies about their background, but they're up here spinning all kinds of bullshit and they want to push this as a truth, no, it's time. Let's get down to the nitty gritty and present some receipts, which is what I'm doing. He presented no receipts. No receipts of how many emails he said he has, which is a lie. I'm presenting the truth that is countering lies. That's logical mode. Now, if you think it in terms of how Tree Mix Remix thinks, he doesn't even think you should sneak diss him. If you sneak diss him, he thinks he has a right to go scorch earth. But nope, he doesn't think that anyone else has a right to say anything about him because he operates in me exclusive mode. He'll only perpetrate you mode and let's be collaborative mode for his advantage. But he is in exclusive me mode, especially when it comes to believing that no one can speak on him while he goes, like I said, scorch earth if he thinks you're sneak dissing. Well, that's just too bad. I'm not going to comply with anyone who's in me exclusivity mode. Not going to do that. Then you have the slave mode, which means you have those who are in total deference to others. It's kind of what's happening with Propane Oak Lane, leading rage pigs run him over like a Mack truck. It basically does whatever he says. I've never been in that mode either. If I feel it's worth my time, I'm going to speak on it. I'm going to bring the information forward. I'm not going to comply with someone who is exclusive me mode and expects you not to ever say anything about their bullshit.